So when I was in the group, Mike B played the records for Dame.
Okay.
And this is my hand to God on everything I love.
Exclusive.
Listen, I ain't told this story. A few people know this story.
Okay.
So, and this was before Kanye, Just Blaze. I'm keep it 100.
Okay.
Dame might remember, he might not. You know what I'm saying? But I remember.
Okay.
Keep it 100. You know what I'm saying?
Keep
Like
100.
I remember this because I'm young and I'm trying to get to a position of making my name for myself.
Yeah.
Right. So Mike B go play the records for Dame. Dame's like, yo, who did these records? He said, my man, oh. He said, where he at? He said, in the other room. Say, tell him come here.
Uh-oh.
So I go into the other room. I was probably in the B or the C room.
Okay.
They the little smaller rooms
Yep.
where you just do a lot of production.
Yeah.
So the A room, like you had Studio A, and it's like other rooms where they do all the vocals, all the main recording.
Right.
Right. So I go in there, and Dane was like, well, you know, like, where you from? Like, I'm from VA.
Uh-huh.
So he's like, who you fucking, oh, he's like,
No, you good.
Oh, okay.
You good.
Who you messing with? I was like, Steve,
Right.
I'm with Steve, whatever.
That's the plug.
Right. Man, Steve was on his way back. So Steve eventually come in. He's like, I said, y'all know, he said, shit, I want to sign you to Rockefeller.
Oh, shit. Welcome to 80.
Or 80,000.
I'm your host, Moses Newsom.
And I'm your host, Big Steph Stefano Lewis in the building.
Are you living for 80 years, or do you want to take your legacy and your impact well beyond 80,000 years?
Let's find out.
Today's guest is a seasoned music producer whose sound has helped shape the culture.
Okay.
He's worked with some of the major labels in the industry, including Bad Boy Entertainment,
Okay.
Warner Brothers, Universal Records,
Yep.
and Wu-Tang Records.
What?
He's helped with some of the biggest artists in the industry, including Saafir, who was signed to Quincy Jones' label.
Talk about it.
U-God with Wu-Tang.
Yes.
Sauce Money, who worked with JayZ early in his career. Nicole Ray, Sherry Dennis, who was with Bad Boy Entertainment. Armageddon from the Terror Squad. And during the late 90s, he worked with Stevie J from Bad Boy Entertainment.
Yes, sir.
He was part of a powerhouse production group with Dalvin from Jodeci,
Yep.
Bink, Mike Mason, and Kevin.
Woo.
He's been a culturally shit producer when it comes to music and the entertainment industry.
Yes, sir.
He's an entrepreneur, and he's the leading leader when it comes to pushing boundaries and revolutionizing music culture.
I love it.
Without further ado, help me give a warm welcome to my man, Omonte Ward. Let's go.
Let's get it, baby.
Welcome to the show, brother. Welcome to the show. That's how we do it, man. That's how we do it.
What up, oh?
I appreciate it.
How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great right now, man. Life is good. I can't complain. I'm holding on like everybody else.
No doubt. No
Hot
doubt.
outside.
Yeah, it's hot outside.
No doubt. Oh, yeah. That's for sure.
Well, look, we're going to do a little icebreaker real quick before we get started.
Okay.
Now, listen. Everybody got a sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been to Atlanta a couple of times. They call you the king of Atlanta sometimes.
Woo.
You got the New York sound, you got the Atlanta sound, you got the LA sound, you got even like a little Houston sound, you got a New Orleans sound. Oh, who got the best sound? Because you know Virginia got a sound. Who got the best sound?
Sir.
Oh man.
And we talking about overall. Overall, who got the best sound?
That's. I mean, everybody's unique when it comes to music, but if you, I'm gonna have to say probably Virginia, man.
Okay. VA.
Talk about it. Oh,
you know, you
why
got-
you gonna say Virginia?
Clips,
Talk about
Missy.
it, oh.
Pharrell, Neptunes?
All of those guys are different.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no
like
doubt.
Neptunes, you know what a Neptune sounds.
That's
like.
right. That's right.
Absolutely.
Timbaland, you know what a Timbaland beat. You got Bink, you know what I'm saying? I mean, even from Missy, just the writing, everything, even from the guys that's out now, like the Chris Brown, the Trace. I mean, everybody's unique.
No doubt, no
Everybody
doubt.
sounds the same.
Everybody different. You had to be different.
Everybody different. So when you go other places, you kind of like, you can't distinguish who did that beat. But when you hear a Virginia artist or producer, you know exactly who it is.
You know exactly what it is. That separation is there.
That separation is there.
Most definitely.
So it's definitely there.
That is so dope, man. And it's so we don't get the credit that we deserve.
No.
Right.
Because we definitely got a sound.
Yeah,
So
we got a sound.
Question number one: how did your upbringing and your early environment influence your love for music and sound?
Oh man,
Talk about it.
that started, I'm gonna say, at a young age. My boy Jeff, he really introduced me to it. His
Really?
name, yeah, he introduced me to music, and so back it was me, Jeff, and his brother Jason, and another guy named Ed.
Okay.
And so we was about 12, maybe no, we was like 10, somewhere between 10 and 12. I would say.
Okay.
And so we would go to Ed Dad's house, and he would take the old records, like the 45s, the little small ones, and play just the instrumentals.
Really?
And he would put a tape deck with a microphone, and we would just rap. From that 45 of somebody's beat into the tape deck and create a song from that.
Wow.
And then from there, like I say, my boy Jeff was already doing it. He was
already doing it.
He came and brought me in. So from there, like we just like started to just really starting to do music. We was recording on we had a I don't know if you remember this. It was a PXL 2000. It was
remember that.
That little
You taking it back?
Look, camcorder, So, and I got footage of that. When we was young. Yeah, recording.
Really?
Yeah. So, Jeff, he kind of introduced me to the music, and from there, man, we just like, and then you hear the old school music, the Luther Vandross stuff, and then that was the soulful sound.
Yeah.
Because when hip hop started to create a lot of soul music
Most
back
definitely.
then, you know what I'm saying? So you see like the Pete Rock, CL Smooth, those type of, I can't think of some of the other, like Guru. Those soulful,
J. Rue the Damn, my gosh.
all that soulful music was coming from those old records like that.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Those samples.
Yes,
So,
Outkast.
all of the Outkast, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of like, shaped the wave for me as far as like, then you got Beat Street.
Right.
Then you got
Breaking.
All of that. Then you start to see the shift change.
Crush Grooves.
Crush Grooves. You start seeing the change. So like my boy Jeff, we like, man, that was like he introduced me.
He
to
pulled
that.
you in.
Yeah, he pulled me in,
Yeah.
and then we just from there, man. I just then my boy Biggs, he had an ASR 10.
I remember those.
Oh man,
AR-10.
I'm looking at this thing like
That's the keyboard.
that's the keyboard joint.
That's the keyboard, old school joint.
Really?
And I
Yes,
was like,
sir.
He made a beat at that. When I saw him make that beat, that sold me. I said I need.
It pulled you in.
That was it. I need that. And so
Pulled you in.
I got that. I bought that, and from there, man, I just got
Get involved from there.
Got involved, just from I got a group of guys that I met up with that I knew from around the way.
Yeah.
My man Jeff, he was part of the group.
Okay.
And back then I trademarked my Drop Zone name in 90. I did this all by myself, just researching, I wanted the name. I was like, I need to trademark this because I was serious. You know what I'm saying? So
Nobody helping you doing this all on your own.
All this on my own. I trademarked.
Did all the research and everything.
All the research. Did the trademark office. Did the logo for it. Everything. Just this was I trademarked this joint in like it might have been like 95 or 96.
Paid off.
Yeah. So and then like I said, that's how that transition came about, man. We was just a couple of guys. I just started making beats.
That's dope, man.
So when you think about a lot of times when people are getting in the music industry, you may have family members that don't necessarily agree with it or they won't support you. When you think about those early times, did you have any family members that inspired you or supported you or mentored you at that time, or did you get a little pushback from that?
No, it really, honestly, my family wasn't really in tune to music like that. Like it was never like it was just me. My dad, of course, was younger. He listened to a lot, so I would hear all the old music.
School, yeah.
So that kind of inspired me too. But from there, it was a guy that I knew. I met him through another friend, and he heard some beats one day.
Okay.
And he was like, yo, you know, like, hey, I want to get with, you know what I'm saying, like, get with him, like, because he was in New York
Right.
doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
So he was the one that inspired me to keep going because
Oh, okay.
he had that connection already. So by him, it kind of like, okay, somebody believe in me. You
Right,
know what I'm
right.
saying? So
Little motivation.
yeah,
there.
that was the motivation.
Right.
So, but he would also tell me that he would come every now and then, come through, like, let me hear something.
Mm-hmm.
So he would tell me one of the guys he knew that was in New York
Mm-hmm.
would always downplay me.
What do you mean? He was
Like,
like,
he didn't feel like I was good enough.
really?
Yeah, he was just like, man, you still trying to, you know,
Mess with that dude?
mess with that dude. Yo, he would tell me, like you say, he said, but he was straight up with me. He was
Right.
like, nah, he don't hear what I hear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I know the potential, and that potential from him got me to Stevie J.
Wow.
That's how that connection came.
Wow.
He got you to who?
Stevie J.
Stevie J.
Yeah.
Wow.
With,
So-
with Bad
wow.
Boy situation.
So before we get to the Stevie J piece, when he gave you that feedback from the guy kind of down on you, even though your friend was still uplifting you,
Right.
how did that make you feel at that point when you heard that coming from another guy you never even met?
It was. You know, sometimes make you just want to give up. Like, oh,
Okay.
man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is this even gonna work?
Right.
So, you know, sometimes your mindset is your biggest downfall.
Okay.
So your mind will trick you out of things. That's
Talk
saying
about
it
it.
Right.
ain't gonna work. You see what I'm
Or
saying?
people will try to trick you out of your success.
Right. So
Gotcha.
if you let your mind, your mind is your biggest enemy. You know what I'm saying?
No
So
doubt.
in hindsight, it's like I'm ready to like, oh, he don't believe in me, but you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But so what I did was I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. Like,
So that
you know,
fueled you then?
Yeah. That,
Okay.
That,
You took that negative energy and say, you know
Yeah.
what? That's gonna make me push even harder. Dope. So when you think about that transition with Stevie J, how did that walk us through that moment? How did that happen? How did y'all connect? What did that look like?
So I was home one night, and the guy that believed in me, his name D, he hit me. He said, "Yo, send me some music. I'm a play it for Steve.
Okay.
But we also going on the West Coast to do some work."
Okay.
I said, "All right, cool." So he said, next, you know, we ain't had the MP3s, and,
Right.
you know, I had to burn it on the disc.
Right. Oh, I remember those days. Yep.
Put it in an envelope.
That's right.
Go to FedEx
And
the
mail
next
it off.
morning.
Oh, I remember
and
those
I
days.
paid for next day.
Oh, my God.
So to go to Cali.
Yup.
From Virginia to Cali. Boom.
Okay. So you
So
shipped it. You shipped it just to Cali.
I shipped it. I
Okay.
shipped it because they was going to Cali.
So okay.
They left the day he called me. They was leaving for Cali that night.
Okay.
So they went to Cali. He told me where it was gonna be at.
Okay.
So that next morning, I mailed it to the address I next day. So he got it the day after that. You see what
I
I'm
know
saying?
you. So you paid for the expensive
Yeah,
signature.
I paid extra money.
You want that confirmation?
Yeah. So, I did that joint.
Okay.
He got it.
All right. You nervous too? I know you sit up in the house like,
I'm
I can't wait to get this
like-
call.
I'm like-
Okay.
So he hit me and said, "Yeah, I got it." I said, "Cool, bet." So he called me later that night. He said, "Yo, Steve, he rocking with it." I said, "Word?" He said,
How
"Yeah."
many joints did you send him?
I maybe sent like 10.
Oh,
10,
okay. So you
about
made sure
10
you had
tracks.
some
10,
diversity.
10, somewhere in there, 10, anywhere between 10 and 15. I can't remember. It was a while back.
All
But I know it was
instrumentals, right?
instrumentals.
Okay.
All instrumental.
Yeah, so
no words.
Steve was like, so after Steve was like, "Yo, we gonna get him to come to New York." So all right, cool. So, but he played it for Saafir. While it was on the West Coast.
Which was Saafir.
Quincy Jones. Saafir was signed to
Quincy Jones at that
Quest
time.
Records. You're right.
Yeah, Quest. Yeah.
Right. Because
he played in Minister Society.
Yeah, he played in the Minister
Yeah, yeah.
Society. That was Cousin Harold.
Cousin
Right,
Harold.
got shot at the,
Got shot,
at the
right?
light.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yep.
So he played for him, and they was like, "Yo, we want this record." You know what I'm saying? That's a record called "Watch How Daddy Ball."
Right.
So
that was a hit.
Right. So
Yep.
they had Cam, Cam on the West Coast,
Right.
the Camp rapper Cam over that side. So then they was like, "All right, cool." So I eventually go to New York.
Okay.
I'm out to New York.
Did they fly? Did they pay for your
Yeah,
flight?
they flew me out to New
Okay.
York. I met with Steve. I brought my boy Carl with me. So we go
Reinforcements.
Carl.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
up,
yeah.
Carl?
Reinforcements. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with
so
you.
we up there, everything was cool. Like
Okay.
when I met Steve, he, saying he was cool.
Did you meet him at Bad Boy Records? Were you at?
He was at Bad Boy, yeah. He was signed to Bad Boy.
No, I'm saying when you went up to New York, did y'all meet at Bad Boy in Records?
No,
in New
we
York?
went in, we was at the Hit Factory.
You at the
I went to
Hit Factory.
Yeah, we was in the studio. He was in the studio, so went in there.
Were the Hitmakers around that time?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Exclusive.
Yep,
All
yep.
them dudes, D-Dot.
You met D-Dot when you were up there too?
I met D-Dot before.
Okay.
By this time I met Steve. I didn't get to meet Big.
Okay.
'Cause he had already passed.
Yeah.
But I met everybody else, Mace, you name it.
Total.
Yeah, all of that.
Okay.
Carl Thomas.
Carl Thomas, Faith.
Shine.
Yep.
Yeah, Faith. Yeah,
You met all of them?
All of them.
Yep.
All
What?
of them. Marriage, all of them. I met all of them.
Wow.
By being with Steve, because they used to do a lot of parties.
Yeah.
So, we would go to, we'd be in the studio.
Right.
All right, Mary J got a party tonight at
Gotcha.
such and such club in New York, or Faith got an event, such and such club. We'll leave the studio, go to the club.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But
So take us back to them. So you got to New York.
got to New York, and Steve was like, "Yo, I'm gonna make you a lot of money." That's the when he heard my music, that's the first thing he said. He told me,
Yo, I'm about to make you a lot
you
of
know
money.
what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm young, so I'm like, okay, because they're a little older than me. So
Right,
I was
right.
like, all right, cool, shit. I'm like, maybe this,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? This paid off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
So like
Yes,
this
sir.
might be, and we had a great the relationship was cool. Like we was, and so then they flew me out to LA.
Okay.
This is Soul Train Awards during that time, but I also recorded that Saafir song.
Right.
So went out there, did that record.
Now, did you do the Saafir song in New York or
No, LA.
But when you were in New York, did you do any work then? I missed that
No,
piece.
we was just
kind of politicking at that point?
just talking.
Kind of get a feel for each other. Okay, got it.
You know
Got
what I'm
it.
saying? And then when that time, I went to it was All Star Weekend. So they flew me in on that time. That's when I had my boy Carl with me.
Yeah,
he can
Carl,
tell you the
talking
story.
about it. No, he told me the story.
Everybody's in this is when I first met him. We talked. He was like, "Yo, I like what you got going on.
Right, right,
Make
right.
you a lot of all that. All right, cool." So he's like, "Oh, we going to go out tonight. Y'all coming with us.
Right.
We're gonna give y'all own security."
Woo.
So I'm like,
How'd that make you feel?
I'm like. I'm saying, well, in my mind, we ain't nobody.
Right. You're like,
We don't need no security.
Right,
Nobody know us.
but you the investment though.
Yeah. So
Investment.
Carl was like, so we had this guy. His name was Keeley.
Okay.
His name was Keeley. I think he used to play for the Raiders.
Okay.
But he used to play in the NFL. But then he got his own security company.
Okay.
Right.
Shout out to Raiders.
Man. Oh yeah, I got my Raiders hat. I always been a Raiders fan. That's just But so we go to the club and we got this guy with us. Everywhere we go through. And this is when I meet. I had already met Jay Brown.
Okay.
Jay Brown, was partner with JayZ with
Right.
Rock Nation.
Correct.
So Jay Brown. Unless we can go back to we'll go into that piece later, but anyway, that's when I met JayZ. Jay Brown introduced me to JayZ in the club. I think we was in the tunnel
You met JayZ in the tunnel, New York.
in New York.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jay Brown was like, "Yo, come on, I want you to meet somebody."
Okay.
Wow.
And we went over, introduced me because, like I say, I was with Steve,
Right.
Bad Boy at that time, and
So Steve, just the part you would say. So Steve was kind of like spearheading you through the industry,
Right.
making the right relationships
Right.
and
Yes,
things
sir.
happen for
so
you.
he was also on some records me and him done together. Cause we did the Saafir joint together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like some other stuff, we had the song on the Fubu soundtrack. We did that together too.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, the Fubu. Yeah.
Yeah. So that all, like I say, as we go in the tunnel, like I said, we got this security guard, me and Carl. So we was like, all right, should we go over to JayZ over there, meet
JayZ.
JayZ,
Yeah.
whatever. Tyson Beckford. it's just crazy. It's
Right.
All-Star Weekend.
Everywhere you look, the
It's
stars.
All-Star
Saying,
Weekend. I
you
think
look
it's
to
like
the right is a star.
either-
Look to the left.
either like 98 or 99 All-Star
Wow.
Weekend in New York. I can't remember what year.
Right.
Somebody
Yeah.
will see it and say, oh, yeah, it was 99 or
Right.
98. One of the
Right.
two. So we go to the bar So the security guy, he right with us. Like everywhere we go,
He right there on your heels.
I ain't used to that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Because you like, this just me.
yeah, it's just me. Like I ain't nobody.
I love it.
Man, do you know this dude? He had on a bubble vest, a jacket. Like, but he probably was like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
Man, he took that joint off, yo. When I tell you this dude was cut up, like I'm talking about, like, man, he was crazy.
You like a little Mike Tyson.
Man, 6'5" and cut. So me and Carl looked at each other, and then all of a sudden,
Oh my God.
but just girls just came flocking over those, like we was somebody, because he was just guarding us.
His aura, he just brought that
He
type
brought
of energy.
the aura, like he was just guarding us. Like,
Wow.
and so man, I don't know. I'm like, hold up, man. I ain't used to this.
Right.
Like,
You trying to adjust.
I'm just trying to,
You still trying to catch up with the fact that you meet with all these stars.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go to the bar, get a drink. It
Wow.
just changed the dynamic.
Change the whole dynamic.
Yeah, it changed.
So now you with JayZ. So what happened at that point once you met JayZ?
We met, we talked, and Jay was working on. So Jay Brown was working with Steve and my man D that introduced me to Steve.
Okay.
So Jay Brown was at Quest Records. That's how I got the Saafir record, because my man D, they knew Jay Brown.
Okay.
So he was working on some Tevin Campbell stuff.
Okay.
So when D was like, yo, it's my man then Jay Brown introduced JayZ, you know what I'm saying? So they was working on Beanie Siegel first album.
Woo!
And they was working on Rail, the group Rail.
Yeah.
And I think Chris John.
I remember Chris John.
That
Dope.
So Jay was just gonna plug me with my music, because that was the channel. That's the plug.
Right.
Jay, that's they the artists, they new artists, they need records.
Right.
So that's how that came up. That's how that setup came about. So
did you get any business from that in terms of?
So here's the thing. So we go. So after we get established. Now I'm part of the crew. I'm coming in.
Right.
It's like I say, it's me, Dalvin from Jodeci.
Yep.
Mike Mason, Kevin.
Yep.
And Bink. Because Bink already had his own thing, but we was all kind of working together. Steve, we was all working this setup.
Right.
Like like Bad Boy had the Hitman.
Hitman, yep.
So we was creating our own little setup where we do production for artists too.
Because they had Young Lord over there.
Yeah, all of that.
So wow.
So I was in my man Mike B. Shout out to my man Mike B.
Shout out Mike B.
So I'm in the Hit Factory, but Hit Factory got all these studio rooms.
Correct.
So I'm on the back side. I'm just making beats.
Yep.
So Mike said Dame is in the front. With your disc, I'm gonna play
Dame Dash.
Dame Dash. He said I'm gonna play some beats for him. I said, all right, cool. So
were you nervous at that point when you heard the name Dame Dash?
Yeah, so I was like, okay. But I ain't come out. I stayed, because I knew Mike was going to go in there and play him. So I didn't want to.
You didn't want to be a part of that while he was doing that.
I just let him handle that. Let you handle that.
Was it a bit of fear in terms of what his reaction was going to be, or was it more just excitement?
I was excited, but I was confident too. Because I knew I had some beats.
Okay.
I knew I had some. Because I wasn't playing. Like I got better.
Yeah.
From the first because Steve started teaching me a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I started watching what he was doing.
Okay.
So, because Steve played 11 different instruments. He's writing Grammy, like he producing for everybody.
He low key,
Jay, Mariah Carey.
He low key a
Absolutely.
genius.
Yeah,
Stevie J is low key a genius.
Man,
Absolutely.
all them hits, Bad Boys, More Money, like Steve was, we was, man, Simply Red. Steve was lighting the charts up. JayZ, Lucky Me, all that.
Wow.
The Dash and the Dope, man.
Yeah, Stevie J was
he was tearing it up, man.
He was the godfather
So
of
I was just sitting back.
You was just sitting back
I was
enjoying.
just like not trying to. Sometimes too many people want to be the general too.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like
You had to be humble.
I had exactly, but I know I had to play my position. I'm a soldier.
Right.
I ain't a lieutenant or nothing. I ain't nowhere.
Because the moment they think that you try to do that, you're done.
Yeah, they can see like, oh, you trying to overcut us, overstep your authority.
Yep.
So I knew. I'm like, no, I know the chain of command. I never spoke money. if somebody asked me about how much, I would like go talk to Stevie.
Talk to Stevie.
Or my man
That's
D.
what I was going to ask you about the business portion of it. How did you work the business portion, the
so
publishing and all
check
that?
it out. So when I was in the group, Mike B played the records for Dame.
Okay.
And this on my hand to God on everything I love.
Exclusive.
Listen, I ain't told this story. A few people know this story.
Okay.
So, and this was before Kanye, Just Blaze. I'm keep it 100.
Okay.
Dame might remember, he might not. You know what I'm saying? But I remember.
Okay.
Keep it 100.
You know what I'm saying?
Keep
Like,
it
I
100.
remember this because I'm young and I'm trying to get to a position of making my name for myself.
Yeah.
Right.
So Mike B go play the records for Dame. Dame's like, yo, who did these records? He said, my man, oh. He said, where he at? He said, in the other room. Say, tell him come here.
Uh-oh.
So I go into the other room. I was probably in the B or the C room.
Okay.
They the little smaller rooms
Yep.
where you just do a lot of production.
Yeah.
So the A room, like you had Studio A, and it's like other rooms where they do all the vocals, all the main recording.
Right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right.
saying?
Right.
So I go in there, and Dane was like, well, you know, like, where you from? Like, I'm from VA.
Uh-huh.
So he's like, who you fucking, oh, he's like, who,
No, you good.
Oh,
No,
okay,
you good,
okay.
you good.
You good?
Who you messing with? I was like, Steve, Steve,
Right.
I'm with Steve, whatever.
That's the plug.
Right. Man, Steve was on his way back. So Steve eventually come in. He's like, I said, yeah, he said, shit, I want to sign you to Rockefeller.
Oh, shoot.
What?
Yeah.
What?
But Steve was like, nah, he with us, Dame, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I couldn't take that situation because I got these people helping me out.
Yeah, you would have been overstepping.
Yeah.
Yep.
So why would I bite the hand that's already
Nope.
feeding me
Yep.
to go, you know what I'm saying,
Correct.
over here? Now, who knows what it would have turned out to be? I
Right.
mean, I don't know. But I could have had that, because these records were for Beanie Siegel. The records that he wanted was for Beanie first
What?
album. Now check it out.
Kidding me.
He actually he wanted 5 records.
Okay.
And like I said, I got to be 100, you know what I'm saying, again.
Now, was it from the original 10 that you had sent?
No, it was a different.
This is way down.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just
Okay.
making-
It's way past. Okay.
Yeah, so he wanted 10 records. He wanted 5.
Five
5 of
records.
those records. It might probably play like 20 records. You know what I'm saying? So it was like 4 or 5, maybe 6, somewhere up in there.
Oh, my God.
So he comes back. Now, mind you, I don't talk money because that's not my position.
Right.
Yes.
That's Steve.
You leave it for Steve.
Steve to talk the money.
Right.
But Dame already know.
What you're worth.
Right. And who did the records? Who produced those beats?
Right.
So you can't upcharge this man for the records because you attached to it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, right.
So the money went up, and Dame got a sour taste in his mouth because it was like you trying to overcharge me for a new producer, which at that time, I could see like maybe like at that time I was getting between 10 and about 15 grand a track.
Per
See what I'm
track,
saying?
okay.
Right.
Wow.
So, and that was been fair because Beanie Siegel was a new artist coming out.
Correct.
But Steve was getting 75 to 100,000 a
100
track.
Per track. Yeah.
So,
Easy.
So the problem laid in where he attached the that price tag onto that
To your
to
tracks.
my track, and that's why.
And Dame saw you as a new producer.
Yeah, he saw me as a new producer, and
Got
it was
it.
like, nah, that's just too much. And
Right.
the deal just fell apart.
It fell apart. Okay.
Wow.
So that's how that happened.
Wow.
But
So is that one of your regrets?
nah, because I ain't gonna say that because I knew what the business was. It's the business. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the fact that I was a little upset, like because I could have had even if it was just one on that album.
Right. What could
Right.
have been?
What could have been.
Yeah.
But I understand what he was doing at that time.
Yeah.
Like, we are this established. You
Conglomerate.
under my umbrella, so it's almost like if we can't shortchange this. This has to be, what it is.
Right.
And then I feel like it could have went down some just to get the ball rolling.
Right.
And then on the
Yes.
next time around, we could have, got more.
Right.
Sometimes and at that time we was all young.
Right.
So the mindset wasn't thinking like that on,
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying?
On
So
the business level,
on the business end.
side,
So,
yeah.
it was a lot of hiccups and a lot of mistakes with,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, with that. So,
But you learned from that situation.
Yeah.
And I think the most brilliant thing you did in that situation was you were humble.
Right.
You didn't overstep your connects
No.
because it could have went left
Right.
Because a lot of people in that situation would have took it and their eyes would have got big. They
Right.
would have made moves behind people's
Behind the
back.
back, right.
And then you could have got blacklisted from the industry.
Right. Yeah.
So
I never overstepped nobody. I kept it. This is what it is. This is the chain of command. I never talk the money. I
Very
let
dope.
them talk the money.
that was smart of you, especially at a young age, to know how to move like that.
Right.
With nobody really teaching you that part of the business.
Right.
Yeah. Dope.
So we're going to switch lanes just a little bit because I want to dive into your family life.
Okay.
And let's talk a little bit about D Ward.
Oh, my son.
Florida State.
Yeah.
How we just got through a Father's Day.
Right.
Man, how has that impacted you, his success and what he's been doing and your family life? And how has family life been important to you? I know you've been married. How is all the structure of your family? I know Carl and some of the close people to you.
Right.
How has family been important to you? How has it structured your life? And how has the success of your son, D Ward at Florida State University, impacted you?
Woo! That was I sacrificed a lot of time to get him to that position.
You did.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a lot of, when they're younger, you have to dedicate. It's like, you got to work, but then you got to say, okay, I got to split this time right here to get him to practice, get him to the games.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now I got to go handle my business to make sure we got a roof over our head.
Exactly.
Right.
So that was a challenge, but I got it. I figured it out.
Right.
So, and for that situation with my son, like, he was able to, it wasn't a waste of it wasn't a waste of time.
It wasn't a waste of
Okay.
time.
It wasn't.
Did
like,
it seem like it at the time?
no,
in the
because
beginning?
I knew, because he would every year he would say, when we signing up for football. So I saw the
Dedication.
dedication
and
to
the
him.
potential.
Right.
Yeah.
So I give you, like, examples for him. So, like, at a younger age, he already said, like, he want to go to the NFL. Like, young kids,
yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
He never wavered from his practices or his games. Like, out of the, I'm gonna say I started him at 5 years old at tackle. 5 years old at tackle.
Wow.
Tackle
Talk about
football. And from first grade to high school, all the way to his senior year, he has never missed a game.
Wow.
Not one
That's
game.
dedication.
Wait.
One game.
Not one.
Not one game. He has played in every single game. Even times, and thank God he's never been hurt where, he's had little bumps and bruises.
Right.
Right.
You know
But no severe injury where it took him out
Well,
for
took him
one
out the-
game.
yeah.
Right. Only game he's missed was in college. And that was because when Florida State played Miami, he made a tackle on the running back, and then one of the linemen fell on his leg.
Ooh.
And you can see it in the game where he had to come off the game for like I think he was out for 2 weeks. Where he missed one game, but they had a bye week. But then he came back in the third week. So
week.
Wow.
he played all games except for one last year.
And I bet you he ain't like missing that one game.
Nah, so you know what I'm saying? And so
It's the first ever.
Man.
So, and for me, I've been to every game that he's had from first grade. I think in high school I missed maybe 3 games. And so from when he first started, I've been to every game.
Wait, let's pause right here. Let's pause right here.
Yes.
And I want the audience to really dive into what he's saying, because you get so much flack as a father
Yes, we do.
about not showing up to games, not being there. Oh, you've been to every
Every
single
Wow. Haven't missed
Game?
one.
Haven't missed one.
Wow.
Man, shout out to that. That's dope.
Yeah,
Now, how did you fit that? How did you balance that with your schedule?
Yes.
And everything?
so I know his schedule and I know where he playing at. In high school, what happened? Well, I missed certain games because they was playing out of state.
Okay.
So they had some out of state games. Like they might play a team from like South Carolina or
Right.
Florida, or whatever the
Right,
case might be.
right.
Or it might have been a game where I'm working and I just couldn't get back in time for
Got
the
it.
game. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? Like I'm
Right.
trying to get back,
Yeah.
but it just don't work.
It just didn't happen.
But the younger age, the younger core, because I ended up, so when he was 5th grade all the way up to 8th grade, I ended up becoming a coach.
Wow.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I couldn't miss games.
Okay.
You know, and I got him to practice.
Yeah.
I was, you know, so
Yeah.
I'm the coach. Because now he get to see me. He see the dedication I'm putting in, and I see the dedication he putting in.
When you did that, when you transitioned, did that, how much more respect did your son gain for you when you did that?
Oh yeah, a lot.
love that.
In his articles, he talk about it when they interview him.
Yeah.
I read it in one article.
He talk about it.
Wow.
But you know, it's like I say, you just got to make the time. Some people just don't want to put the time.
Right.
Like they feel like they missing something else.
Right.
But you know, with your kids, you don't get that time back.
You don't get it
know what I'm
back.
saying? You know what I'm saying? So
That's dope.
but yeah, like so that transition, like I say, he's played in every game. I'm talking about every game.
He ain't missed one game.
He even had a cast. He matter of fact, he had a little. They couldn't tell if it was a crack or just a
hairline fracture.
hairline fracture. So they did an MRI. They couldn't see nothing, but it was just bothering him. So they put a short cast on his hand,
and he still.
And they said, "You still can play." And in his highlight huddle, his highlight on reel, you see him he intercepted the ball twice with the cast on his hand.
You kidding me? Come on, man.
Pick six.
Come on, man.
Shout out to
I don't want no excuses for nobody in life that you can't do something when you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
That is pure dedication.
Yeah, he was determined. So out of high school, he had like 28 Division I offers. So you know, he just like he kind of knew what he wanted. He had a lot of big schools, small schools in between.
Yeah.
But he knew that he just wanted to go somewhere that valued him.
Yeah.
He always say, you got to value me on the field
and
off the field.
How much of yourself did you see in your son?
A lot, because with him, you know, with him, I could see like he's very, you know, like it's almost like he's very. He knows what he wants.
Right.
Even if somebody tell him he ain't as good as what he's like when I was doing the music.
Right.
Somebody he can bypass that because he knows he's that good. So he sees that.
Yeah.
He be like, I ain't worried about that.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna just show you on the field.
I bet you that made you feel good to see.
So you know, and now he just transferred. He got in the portal because, you know, the first year they went undefeated at Florida State and they kicked them out the playoffs that year.
Right.
So last year they were terrible, 2-10.
Yeah.
They fired the defensive staff.
Right.
So he got in the portal. He had Memphis now. So you know, he got 3 years left on you know, to play football. So you're redshirt sophomore. But he'll tell you, he said, listen, I know my value and I ain't cutting it short. Like he's real. When he got in the portal, he had like 18 schools trying to get him.
Wow.
He could have went to some other nice schools.
Yeah.
He chose Memphis because he put this little thing together to see who really valued him.
Okay.
I didn't say
so
nothing.
he had like a little checklist.
Yeah, he had a checklist. I didn't.
Dope.
I said,
You didn't have no influence.
I ain't had no influence. I said,
wow.
I told him, I said, you know what you want.
Yeah.
I say, I could see it.
Yep.
I say, I don't gotta say nothing. You
I
know
love
what you
it.
want. And he could have went to this school. But he said it don't matter where I play at. It's just you got to value me when I'm on the field and off the field. And life ain't just about football.
Right.
He said, I need resources too.
What type of resources would explain more about
him
that?
is like when something goes wrong, he just don't want to be, okay, this is football. What outside of football? Like, how can you help me outside of this?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I got an issue over here.
Right.
You saying you want to make sure I'm straight? Well,
Right.
we're going to put you to the test.
Yeah.
To see if you're going to make sure I'm straight.
And that's smart because a lot of kids don't think like that.
Nah.
They have that tunnel vision and laser focus on one thing and forget the things around that, like the mentorship,
Right.
how you support me off the field.
Right.
It's just as important how you support me on the field.
Right. And I tell this too before we go to the next thing. Like, my son grew up in a nice environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got some kids that's hungry. They trying to get they sharing clothes.
Right.
They sharing clothes. They trying to, you know, they get out the hood.
Right.
You know, they fight different.
Right.
So one of my boys brought this to my attention. He said, your son ain't got to fight for trying to. He said he grew up in a nice house.
Right.
You know, everything good.
Right.
What is his fight? So you got to ask I had to ask myself.
You had to ask yourself.
What is his fight? Why are you fighting hard?
What you fighting for?
What you fighting for? Because you ain't you eat good.
You got it good.
Yeah,
you eat right.
Everything is good. So I never asked him, him that question.
Right.
But he fighting for something. So I don't know. I don't need to know.
Right.
I just know he doing what he's supposed to do. Because my son will go train. He'll go train on the field by himself on a Sunday.
Right.
He just go ask the coach, can he get the stuff and go out there and train by himself. I didn't know what he was doing. I'm like, where you going at on Sunday? Oh, I just go to the field. The coach said I could use the field and get the equipment. I say, you out there by yourself? He's like, yeah. I said, for real? He's like, yeah. Nobody else? He said, nah, just me. That's his dedication.
Wow.
Like his dedication is like that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm going to disagree with you on something.
Mm-hmm.
You say you don't know what he's fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
I say you do know what he's fighting for, and what I mean by that is he's looking at his father, and the foundation that you set. Now, yeah, you're right. He could be in a situation like, you know what, I got everything. I could sit back and just relax.
Right.
But he went on the opposite end of the spectrum and said, you know what, I can sit back, but look how my dad fought for me.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Look how he fought for me.
You're right.
That's what he's fighting for.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
because he wants to show you that he appreciates the foundation you set. Because here's the thing: not all fathers set that foundation.
No, you're right. You're right.
Do you understand?
No,
I give yourself credit for that. I know you're being humble, but he fighting for what you set, the foundation that you laid for him.
No, you're
and
right.
something else that's very, very important. I want the audience to pay attention to this. The most valuable thing we have, a lot of people think it's cars, a lot of people think it's houses, but the most valuable thing we have is our time.
That's right.
That's
and you can't get it back.
My pastor tells me that all the time. The most valuable thing that we have is our time.
No, you're right.
And in the beginning of the interview, you talked about how you was always there, every practice, whatever. Your son, believe me, he taking notes.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And he knows that, and we talked about it earlier about, did you ever feel like you was wasting your time? He's gonna make sure you wasn't wasting your time.
There you go. That's what he's fighting for.
That's what he's fighting for.
That's you right. You right. I agree with you on that. I agree with you.
Make sure you're not wasting your time.
Yeah, I agree.
So
with you
let's
on
switch gears a little bit. So we know what you poured into your son, and we know that foundation and the respect that you gained for your son and what you put into him. Retro looking back, him looking at you, how has he reacted to your career and the things that you're doing musically? Has he had a conversation with you about how he feels about that or what that means to him?
Not really. Like, you know, he's more like, he's quiet, man. Like, he
like my son quiet.
Quiet. You know, he ain't, you know, when he give his little friends, they talk. But with me, he quiet. You know, he'll talk. He'll tell me what's going on, certain things. But he just, when he on the field, man, it's like his whole world light up, man. Like he different. It's like he's just a different person.
He's a different person.
Yeah. When his cleats come on and he put them cleats on, you might as well just go and get ready.
Man.
Because man, he is going to lay you down. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't playing with you. He ain't doing none of that. He's coming for you because he know he got somebody trying to take his place behind him. Yeah. So he got to stay. He know he got to stay sharp. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So he
respected what you did, but he was really laser focused. On being successful in what he was doing.
Yeah, he supported him. He appreciate everything I done. He said he'll write me a letter from school and send it to me. So he appreciate everything. Like he just quiet, but he recognized. You know what I'm saying? He know what time it is.
That remind me of my son Matthew. I'm telling you, everything he said remind me of my son because he's quiet. He plays soccer. He plays for Rush right now.
Okay.
But you know, when he get on that field, it's like he's box office.
Right.
But when he off the field, he like go to his room, play his games.
That's him.
Legos. I'm like, how you feel about the game? It was good.
Yeah.
He's humble.
That's the same way.
He don't like try to.
How you doing the game today? He'll be like, I could have did better, but no, it was cool.
That's my son.
He said, I did all right. He said could, and he knows when he do great, and he knows when he didn't do great.
Right.
That's the thing I like about it. It ain't no excuse. He don't make an excuse about when he mess up.
There you go.
That's
that accountability.
Hard. Yeah, that's hard for kids to be like, well, nah, because he's supposed to. He'll tell you like, nah, I missed that one right there. Yeah, that was on me. You
gotta appreciate that.
Yeah, so. It is what it is, but
so let's switch. How did you go into Jay Brown? The Rockefeller Rock Nation situation. What happened in that situation when you met Jay Brown of Rock Nation?
Well, he helped me get my deal with Warner Brothers, Warner Chapel.
Okay.
So he knew the girl. He helped me get my deal over there with, and then he also had I forgot this artist's name. Like he had a few artists that I was channeling through. Then of course the Sauce Money.
Sauce Money with Roc-A-Fella Records, JayZ.
Yeah. So Sauce was J Man, but he never signed to Rockefeller.
I noticed that. Yeah.
I know why. I'll let him tell that story.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But
You ain't gonna break it out?
respect,
He was dope, too.
Yeah, I can respect that.
Sauce
the
Money was
reason
dope
why.
back then.
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you got to keep your friendship and business separate. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? Because it might not mix. But you know what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, he was on priority.
Okay.
So he did a deal over there, and I did I did one on his first album. Then I was working on the second album. I had 4 on the second album, but a big shift with the label started changing. A lot of merging and a lot of restructuring, with this. So that, you know what I'm saying, that never, but we did some independent stuff. I got a record with him. Actually, this was before K Slade died. Rest in peace to DJ K Slade.
Yeah.
So it's Sauce Money, Bun B, and Gangsta Boo. Rest in peace to Gangsta Boo too.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
So I got a record with them 3 on
Legends.
it.
Wow.
Them 3,
Legends.
and we never put it out. I actually played that record the other day.
Really?
Yeah. Let somebody hear it, it was like, yo, this joint crazy. Yeah, but it's up to him if he want to, because I did the record for him. So it's up to him if he ever want to drop it.
Release it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So you had that relationship. How did that take your career to the next level? Did you start to get different phone calls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Had meetings up at Bad Boy, had meetings at Sony. Man, I had this one girl from New York I was working with. I had her come down. I met her, she was doing background vocals with Steve, but I just, me and her was working together, so we would go and do some work. And so she was like trying to really get into the music, and so writing records. So I met somehow, I can't remember how I met the guy from Sony, vice president. So he was like I can't remember, but anyway, we exchanged information. We go to I have her come down. We go to his office. We up at top of the building in New York.
Up in the clouds. Up in the clouds.
His office was, the office probably was 5,000 square feet, man. I'm like, you up here all by yourself? Like, I'm, like I say, everything is new to me. So
Right.
But I'm just hustling, trying to get
to figure it out,
trying to get a deal. I took calling them, the Lumberjacks. I took their stuff to Universal, trying to get them a deal with the one that gave me the deal. So I was trying to, get everything. And we was working some stuff, but the girl at Sony, he had her come to this event and she sung. And when I tell you, she tore it down. Everybody was coming up to us trying to give her their business card, hey, can you come back next week?
Right.
Back, So, and I can't remember. She got, something happened with her. I can't remember.
Did she ever get a deal or?
We was working on a deal.
Okay.
And it just fell apart because something with her on her end. I can't remember what happened. I don't know if it was something family or whatever. But it just didn't work out. Didn't pan out.
Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's like that. I just recently found out my first cousin is Hannah Lane.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Hannah Lane? He worked under Timberland and Missy Elliott.
Do I know?
He produced tracks with Madonna. He did stuff with Jennifer Hudson.
That name. Maybe I'm thinking
he's right here in Virginia.
Else.
He's right here in Virginia.
I probably know who. If I see a face, I might get.
So Teddy Riley first introduced him to the game.
Okay.
And then he got with Timberland, and then they, kind of in your situation, he brought him in, was humble, produced.
Right.
So when you think about being with a team, how did you separate your music to make sure that your music stood out from everybody else? What was the niche with your music?
When we got as a team, see, initially by myself, I was everything.
Okay.
So when I got with a team like Kevin, he played the guitar and the bass. So,
okay.
So I would just do up some drums or something, or I would just hum some tunes to him, and he'd just be with the guitar.
Yeah.
He'd just start playing, and we'd lay it down, and
Yeah.
we going. Like we started just making beats, man. Like so, we just took his sound, and I take my sound. We just put it together.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started to.
How was the chemistry? Did you ever get to do you ever remember a point where you were frustrated because maybe you had a direction for the sound that they didn't want to go in?
Nah, because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like I say, I was going with the flow. I was not trying to
put rough no feathers.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to throw no hiccups in there.
Right.
You know, I'm like, okay, you don't like it. Even if I thought it was hot, I'm like, cool. You want to change it.
That's
we gonna see if it work. If
Right.
it don't work, we go another direction.
Go do something else.
I'm simple.
Right.
Like even with, like I say, from coaching football, I'm like, look. If it ain't working, now you got an idea? Let's see
put it together. We'll work
Because
together.
I ain't trying. If you stay stubborn, you can fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, people ain't want to work with you. They
Yeah.
be like, oh, he's stubborn. He don't want to make changes. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You got to make changes. Like you got to adjust.
I love
You know what
it.
I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I was just going with the flow, man. Like me and UGod, you know what I'm saying? We talked a few times. And,
Yeah, because you work with Wu-Tang, right?
Yeah. So
Wow.
him. I still talk to Sauce. I might talk to Sauce maybe a couple of weeks ago.
He doing good?
Yeah, he doing good.
Good.
Yeah, he's still doing his thing, whatever,
Well, we get ready to run out of time, but before we do, we want to play a little game with you real quick. Okay. So, and then Moses is going to go his 80 or 80,000 question, and then I'll give my final thoughts.
Okay.
So, greatest of all time. And this is overall package, what they did, music-wise, their talent, everything, overall package. And this was a small group. If you remember, this was an entity, and then it fell apart.
Uh-oh.
Okay? All right?
Okay.
So, greatest of all time. Missy Elliott, Timberland, Magoo, Nicole Ray, Genuine. Greatest of all time. In your opinion.
You saying the
Out of that
Overall,
group.
what they've done, music-wise, you know what I'm saying, their impact on the world, on music, and even your own personal, just listening to them, what they could have done. Because Nicole Ray is still touring, but she, of course, there was a split with Rockefeller and, with Dame and them, and she didn't get to sign with Rockefeller. But in your own opinion, who has had more impact on music?
I'm obviously like the two. I would say, if I got to pick one,
If you got to pick one.
yeah. So Missy been doing her thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No doubt.
But I'm gonna have to go with Timberland
Okay.
I love it.
because he created so many hits for so many different people,
Gotcha.
genres of music.
Different
Missy has too. But Timberland track record is just crazy.
His resume.
Impeccable.
It's just crazy. Like, he even from TV shows and just
Right.
so he definitely was the one. He the one.
Dope.
Okay.
Dope.
All right. Greatest of all time. And we just talking high school.
Okay.
We're not talking about nothing else.
Uh-oh.
We ain't talking about their pro career.
my
We
seat
ain't
up.
talking about their college career.
Strap in.
We ain't talking about elementary. We just
me
talking about
strap
their
in.
high school.
Okay.
Okay. Greatest of all time. Joe Smith, Michael Vick, Ronald Curry, Allen Iverson.
I'm gonna go with Allen Iverson.
Really?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Tell us why.
Because if you go back and watch film when he was playing at the gym,
Yes.
they couldn't even fit the people. Before he was playing, the gyms were just people here and there in the game.
Yeah.
They had to change it because they have enough room for the people to fill in for the gym.
Yeah, they had to move some games to the
Yeah.
Coliseum.
Oh,
Yeah, because
yeah.
so you think that's a different setup.
That's a whole different
that's a whole
ball-
another ball
Yes,
game.
sir.
If you telling me like you took a high school player and now this gym is getting so outrageous, you got to move it to the Coliseum. Yeah,
That's
come
a whole
on,
different
man.
ball game.
Wow.
Yeah, that's hands down, man. You do that.
AI,
you
Bubba Chuck.
was special.
Okay.
No
Okay.
doubt.
All right,
Yeah.
greatest of all time. And you've had your little, your tit tab, you got your toes in all four of these places, but I want to know what you think is the greatest of all time. Atlanta,
Uh-oh.
New York, Los Angeles, or VA?
Woo!
You know what?
He gave you a tough one. That's almost not fair, man.
It ain't gonna be New York. It ain't gonna be LA.
Okay.
You know, because I'm gonna say the greatest of. I'm gonna have to say Virginia.
Okay.
Come on, tell us about it.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Even though I stay out in Atlanta, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've been out there a billion times, but I have done a lot of great things here.
Come on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, from owning my club, owning my restaurants, just different businesses.
Yeah.
I got started here with the music.
Yeah.
Like, just relationships, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is, you know, just, I done been to every, in the 7 cities, it ain't a club I ain't put my foot in out here. I don't care what, I done been to every club, and I'm from, like I said, the Portsmouth, you know, Suffolk side. Whatever.
Yes.
But from Newport News, I mean, to Hampton, the Mirage, I mean, Dewdrop.
Woo, you took it back.
I done been to every club. Was it 1861?
You took it back.
And I ain't from this side.
Right.
So I ain't from the Hampton, Newport News side, but I've been to every club on this side.
Come
Virginia
on now.
Beach, Chesapeake, Blakely's. So it's like, I can't even say like one part is my stomping ground.
Gotcha.
Because the whole 7 cities was my stomping ground.
No
like
doubt.
I've been Virginia Beach, you name it, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Suffolk. I've been to every club. City Lights On. I've been everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta say here, even though Atlanta got a lot of great things going on, but I'm gonna just have to say Virginia.
No doubt. I respect. That's respectable.
757.
Last but not least.
Actually, the 804.
804. Okay.
804.
Why
You
they
taking it
switched
real
it to the
back.
757?
Oh yeah.
All right, now, and last but not least, and we talking goats. Okay? We talking goats.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
But you got to give me the greatest goat of all time, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to name him. All right?
Don't do it, Stefano. Don't do it.
We talk about overall impact, career, resume, everything. We talking about goats.
I got you.
Oh my
Greatest of
gosh.
all time. Tom Brady. Michael Jordan.
Oh.
Michael Jackson. Muhammad Ali.
Woo.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more. JayZ.
That's a tough one.
So full package, right?
Full package.
Everything. Performances.
And from birth to death, or birth to whatever they at right now.
I'm gonna go with Michael Jackson
Michael Jackson.
Okay.
because
Wow.
you know he started from a young kid, man. Like anytime you got grown men passing out over you,
They were passing out though too.
grown men hitting the ground. So none of them other guys didn't have that.
Yeah,
like, you know, you don't want to sign your shoes.
You got grown men just laying out.
You know, Michael Jackson had grown men.
Yes, he did.
You know
Yes,
what
he
I'm saying?
did.
So that right there, you know, I already knew who I was gonna say,
Who
but
you
I had
gonna
to
say?
think about the other guys too. But when I was
Yeah.
like, hold on, man, Mike had grown
Yeah,
men
people falling out.
man.
Grown
Like,
men falling out.
Yeah.
Mike Jackson.
Nobody was doing it like you. Nobody ever do it like Michael Jackson, man.
We had a go conversation at our interview before this one, and we said Michael Jackson or Chris Brown. The young lady picked Chris Brown.
I mean, you know, to each his own, man. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, like, you couldn't. You see, I could see why she picked Chris Brown,
Right.
and she might have been a little bit younger.
35.
35.
Yeah. So she,
yeah.
you know,
She don't know.
She don't understand.
She don't understand
She
the
in
gratitude.
She in the internet
Oh my
world.
gosh.
Yes, sir.
You know,
yes, sir.
You could.
We was there.
You had to go, like, you get to see Chris Brown and all them every day. You could go online and look at them.
Right.
Back you had to beat it.
Correct. Absolutely.
Your eyes you had a glimpse of Michael Jackson if ever in your lifetime.
In your life, right.
Right now we can see Chris Brown every day.
Every second.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying?
It's a difference.
I'm so glad that you brought that up
Yes.
because the accessibility of stars back in those days was almost impossible.
Yes.
And that's what made them more of a star.
Right.
There you
Now,
go.
like you said, you could turn on your phone and see him all day long.
Yeah,
Good point.
the element
Good
of
point.
surprise is gone.
There's
Like,
no
good
element
point.
of surprise.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you know, it's you again,
Man, I mean, when Missy Elliott, when she first did what was the in the ring when she had the big balloon
Yeah.
outfit on?
Yeah.
That was like, she was like hip hop god at that point,
Man.
right?
Yes.
You don't have that now.
You don't have it because everybody think they're a superstar now.
Yes.
Some people just
It's almost like you ain't got to work for it no more.
It's like, and then the people that you looked up to, they now coming down to the people that's just they want to be with them.
And that's
It's
something?
like the people that you couldn't even touch
Right.
now want to be beside you. Think about that.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
Yes.
you see, like
Yes,
say
yes.
somebody like you see like a Will Smith or somebody that you ain't really get close to Will Smith.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you see Will Smith beside these new guys just right there like just
Right. Like, that's Will
like,
Smith.
you could never get to those guys.
Yeah.
But now you see how the dynamics change.
It's
Yeah.
the internet,
Now I need
social
to
media.
get with these guys.
Yeah.
They ain't really nobody, but they got a little audience.
Right.
So I want to attach myself to 'em
Exactly.
to try to make myself
Relevant.
again.
Relevant
You know what I'm
again.
saying? So
Yeah.
you see the reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
love
that's
it.
why
That's crazy.
that's why I say
Let's
like,
go with your 80 or 80,000 question.
So thank you for coming on the show. We've
Yes,
enjoyed
sir.
it. Absolutely.
My
So
God.
a lot of people ask when they see the title 80,000, like, what is that? And we're glad because we want like you said, intrigue.
Right.
We want people to be mysterious. So 80,000 is, are you living for just 80 years on earth, meaning that you're just living for the moment, just trying to get by day? Or is your goal to live beyond the impact of 80,000 years? What people think about you, who you impacted, who you loved, what your name means in the books, 80,000 years. What's most important to you, 80 years or 80,000, that impact?
I would say 80,000.
No doubt, no doubt.
Because if you can have people to continue to talk about you, it's like you never fade away.
There you go.
You know, so like you say, some people pass away and they just forget all about you. Like
Yeah.
you just gone. Like,
Yeah.
you know, then those people just stay. But if somebody can conversate about you in a room
Yeah.
and you've been dead 5-10 years and they still talking about you and
Yeah.
talking about the great things you done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important.
No doubt.
Yeah.
80,000.
Yeah.
There we go. Appreciate you.
Well, I wanted to say my final thoughts. I've been knowing you over 10 years, maybe even more. And
Yeah, been more.
yeah, 15 or more.
Yeah.
And I remember, I never forget, I've always looked at you as a mentor and a leader. And the reason why I have is because I remember I worked under you. You was one of my first bosses. And I remember, it was like, at that time, I had a temper, you know, I was quick. I was quick to go off on somebody.
Right.
And I remember sat me down one day. He was like, man, look, man, come here, Steph. He said, when you are able to control your temper, you're going to do some great things. But until you're able to control your temper, you're going to always have some setbacks or some hurdles that you're going to have to jump over. And man, I took that with me to the point I am right now. And when we talk about people who have influence, fathers, leaders, people who do things, a lot of times you don't understand when somebody's telling you something at that time, but it carries over in your life. And now I've accomplished so much more since that conversation
Oh yeah.
with him.
Wow.
And so y'all give it up. Y'all make some noise for the one, the only, Big O, Omonte Ward.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Y'all tune in to 80 or
88,000
And just remember, if God be for you, then who can possibly be against
against you.
you? No one. Y'all have a
Good night.